Disabled people in Glasgow are confused by the welfare reform legislation because it completely contradicts and conflicts with equalities legislation and human rights legislation. And I'm thinking about the Equality Act 2010 that says that disabled people should be able to live free from discrimination and harassment, and that's not happening at this point in time because of the negative portrayal in the media of disabled people as cheats and scroungers. The human rights legislation also says that disabled people should be able to live independently with support in their communities, and that they should be able to participate in family life and have a decent standard of living and take part in the full access and opportunities that are available to non-disabled people across all areas of life. As you all know, the entitlement disabled people have to benefits is under attack, and that's also having an impact on services and access to vital services that disabled people need. And now we know that disabled people's very own homes are under attack as well, so disabled people are more vulnerable than ever. And in an affluent modern society, this is a national scandal and needs to be challenged.
People think we're just scroungers and we want money for nothing, which is not true. We want to go out in the community and work, and I myself do volunteer work because I want to give something back to the community.
Something that's huge for me is the changeover from DLA to PIP. You know, I've been getting DLA for years and a lifetime award because I've got cerebral palsy, and it's a lifetime condition. It doesn't get better, it's forever. So you're either at the stage you're at, or you could get worse from associated conditions. So this idea of going on to PIP and getting constantly reassessed for something that isn't going to change is to my mind a bit of a concern, because it's then you're having to then pay for people to assess you, every so many months or every so many years, and it'll cost the government a hell of a lot of money just to facilitate that.
I mean, for example, I've had a stroke, which obviously it affects my ability to speak. And but you can have 6 different types of strokes, and with that even subdivisions of that. So I mean, how can you understand? I mean, how can that doctor listen to me and understand what form of stroke I took? Because a consultant would do that, but ATOS won't deal with any consultants. They wouldn't deal with your doctors, and that's just appalling.
If I didn't get DLE, I would be housebound, because I'm 20 minutes walk from my nearest bus stop, and I'm not very good at walking anyway. And even if I could get to the bus stop, I use a walking frame, which is not easy to get on an ordinary bus.
It's something that's actually happened to me before, where I was housebound for 3 years at the age of 27. And completely isolated, couldn't get anywhere, and as a result I sunk into a really bad depression and was suicidal over it. And I don't want to go back there again, because it's something that then affects your ability to go back to work. And and if you're in that kind of place, then trying to rehabilitate yourself and get back out there again, it's too hard. So it is something that I'm really, really nervous about.
The car goes, the house goes. What else does this government want from me?
I think it's important to remember that welfare reform affects disabled people who are also working. So for example, someone like myself, I get disability living allowance. And because my condition is active and progressive and lifelong, my award was given as a For Life award, which was fantastic. And that meant that I could use that award to buy a car, which was suitable for me to drive. It also meant that I could buy myself a wheelchair, and it also meant that I could use that money to pay for adaptations to my house, which I needed, which I don't qualify for any other type of support for because of the fact that I'm working. So my DLA, again, because it was a life award, meant that I could get a loan for my adaptation so I can have a bathroom that meets my needs. But the important thing for me is that I can't use public transport, and my car means that I can get myself to work, I can use my car within work, and my DLA award also means that I can supplement the small amount of money I get from access to work to employ personal assistants to help me both at home and in my workplace. if I didn't have my DLA, and I'm really quite concerned about the fact that it might be taken away from me, it means that I might have to give up my car, which means I couldn't be able to get to work, so I may have to give up my job. And then 2 people that I employ to help me as personal assistants also lose their job. So all 3 of us could actually lose our jobs because of the fact that someone's decided that people like me are more than, don't need that sort of support.
If my money is like cut or stopped, my mum or dad can't give me any money do I want to do, because I want to be the same as everybody else, every other young person.
And for me personally, it's the idea that if I go into PIP and the criteria changes, I can lose my mobility car, and which for me is an absolute lifeline. It's my legs, as I keep telling my family. If I lose my car, I lose my legs. I lose my independence, my dignity. I lose my, the control over the choices that I want to make in my own life. Rather than having to depend on everybody else 24/7.
My personal situation myself relates to the bedroom tax. Due to the fact that the government are now want me to pay for an extra bedroom, first of all, I never asked for it, but it was only, that was the house that was allocated to me, because it was the only accessible house available at the time. And to be honest, having to pay that extra cut from my benefits it's going to have quite an impact on my situation.
Myself and my other friends are concerned with the cuts because it will affect our future and our daily lives.
As I say, these changes would really affect me substantially. It would mean less integration with my peers and less integration with my family and things like that, which is really I think that all people in society should be able to have and be able to enjoy. Just because we have a different way of doing things to other people doesn't mean that we should be at a disadvantage for the basic things that other people in society take for granted.
If I lose my DLA, which is going to be devastating, and move over to PIP, which is personal independent payment, I'm going to lose one of the parts I'm going to lose is a mobility component, which pays for my vehicle and allows me to socialise and integrate with society. And if that's going to be severed, which it looks as though it is going to be, then I am completely and utterly isolated. I'm imprisoned in my own home. I'm not going to be able to visit my relatives and friends, and it's going to have a detrimental effect on my health and well-being, which I'm really concerned about.
So the huge knock-on effect of not having disability living allowance means that disabled people, including people like myself, end up not being able to work, not being able to think about working or volunteering or contributing to their communities, and end up just stuck at home with nothing to do and bored, and actually costing the state much more, for example, because not only do they lose social participation, but they're likely to become depressed, more ill, more in need of NHS services.
I'm very concerned about the welfare reform for me and thousands of people like me, because if we lose these benefits, we are absolutely stuck. People don't understand that we don't want to be disabled. It's a fact of life, and it can happen to anyone. You can have an accident. One day you could be perfectly fine. And like Christopher Reeve, the actor, he fell off a horse, broke his neck, and he was paralysed for the rest of his life. It can happen to you just as easily as it happened to me. So I would like to say, think about what you're doing to all disabled people. Think about how you're taking away their lifeline, and that's exactly what you would be doing